Welcome to CEO Spective. So today, we are diving deep into the mind of a guy who's pretty much built his entire career on breaking things down to their absolute core, Tim Ferriss. You probably know him as an author, maybe an investor, a podcaster, but really, at his heart, he's a master of optimization. He takes these huge, complex problems and somehow turns them into simple, actionable recipes for a better life.
And you know this one quote? It's really the key to his whole philosophy. He's not some guru on a mountaintop just handing down advice. Nope. He's down in the trenches. He's the first test subject, the human guinea pig for everything. His goal is always the same. Find out what actually works, boil it down to a framework, and then share it so the rest of us can try it out for ourselves. I mean, this guy explores everything, from ketogenic diets to learning a new language in what seems like record time. And it might look totally random from the outside, but trust me, it's all connected by one single powerful question that drives everything he does. Now, that question is so critical because it gets right to the heart of our most valuable, non-renewable resource, our time. See, Ferriss isn't just trying to learn a bunch of stuff. He's trying to hack the actual process of learning itself. He's looking for that master key, that one approach that can unlock any skill way more effectively than the old-school methods we all grew up with. And his answer to that question is this really powerful framework he calls DSS. Now, this isn't just about learning one new thing, it's about mastering the skill of learning itself, which is a concept called meta-learning. The idea here is it's so powerful. Think about it. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel every single time you want to learn something new, whether that's swimming, or Japanese, or coding, meta-learning gives you a universal blueprint. It's all about understanding the very architecture of how we acquire skills in the first place. So, here's that blueprint in action. First up, deconstruction. A goal like learn to swim is way too vague, so you break it down into its smallest pieces. Kicking, gliding, breathing. Simple. Second, selection. This is where you apply the famous 80-20 rule to find the few critical things that give you most of the results. Third, sequencing. You've got to put them in the right order. I mean, you have to master floating before you try some complex breathing technique, right? And finally, and this one's huge, stakes. Because let's be real, good intentions are never enough. You have to create real consequences, a bet with a friend, maybe a financial penalty if you quit, something to force you to follow through. Okay, let's make this super concrete with an example of selection. The Spanish language has what, hundreds of thousands of words? That's an impossible mountain to climb. But what if you only needed to learn the 1,500 most common words to handle most of your everyday conversations? All of a sudden, that feels like a clear, achievable goal. That right there is the power of focusing on the vital few. And when you put them side by side, the contrast is just stark. Traditional learning is so inefficient. It's like trying to boil the entire ocean. You're learning everything in no particular order, and you're relying purely on willpower, which we all know runs out. DSS, on the other hand, is strategic. It's surgical. You focus only on what truly matters, in the right sequence, and with real incentives to keep you going. It even prepares you for those frustrating plateaus, so you don't quit right before you have a breakthrough. Okay, so Ferriss applies the same deconstructionist thinking not just to skills, but to life itself. He totally rejects the idea of a rigid, long-term career path. He's all about something way more dynamic and adaptive. But why? Well, in his view, a 10-year plan forces you to play it safe. You end up selling yourself short. Instead, he pushes for these intense, focused 6 to 12-month projects where you just go all in on picking up new skills and building important relationships. This brings us to this amazing idea he calls transcendent capital. So early in his career, Ferriss was an advisor for a startup called StumbleUpon. The company didn't exactly become a huge success, but was the project a failure? Absolutely not. Through that project, he learned a ton about web traffic, and he built a really deep friendship with the founder, a guy named Garrett Camp. A few years go by, and Garrett texts him about a new idea he has for solving San Francisco's taxi problem. And yeah, that idea became Uber. A so-called failed project led directly to a home run investment. See, by focusing on the skills and relationships that compound over time, you're just playing a much longer, bigger game. Every single project, whether it's a success or a failure, adds to your arsenal of this transcendent capital. It's a system that's designed to survive bad luck and jump on opportunities, making sure you win in the long run. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked a lot about the how behind Ferriss's methods, but to really truly understand the man, we need to explore the why. What is it that fuels this intense drive to solve problems for other people? And this question, it takes us way beyond just life hacking and into something much, much deeper. And the answer, it turns out, isn't found in his successes,
but in his really profound personal struggles.
For decades, Tim Ferriss kept this incredibly painful secret. From the time he was 2 until he was 4, he was sexually abused. And this formative trauma, combined with a genetic predisposition to major depression, it really shaped his entire experience of the world. It made him hypervigilant, slow to trust, but it also became the very foundation for his life's work. This piece of advice he got became a massive turning point. He started to see his past not as a source of shame, but as a source of credibility. His pain gave him this unique ability to connect with other people who were suffering. It actually became the engine behind his entire mission.
And true to his nature as a self-experimenter, he went looking for tools. Now, this isn't a prescription, but it's a look into his personal toolkit. From brain stimulation to psychotherapy, his journey just goes to show that healing isn't about finding one magic bullet. It's about exploring a really diverse range of options to find what works for you. And one of the most exciting areas he's digging into right now is the future of health. He believes it might lie less in pharmaceuticals and more in electricity, which brings us to this fascinating field of bioelectric medicine. So what on earth is it? Well, think of the vagus nerve like a massive fiber optic cable that connects your brain to your gut, touching pretty much every major organ along the way. Vagus nerve stimulation, or VNS, uses these really mild electrical pulses to basically talk to this nerve, which could potentially regulate everything from depression to autoimmune diseases.
And the potential effect is just staggering. Ferriss tells this story about a friend of his, a former military operator who was really struggling with stress. His heart rate variability, or HRV, which is a key marker of your body's resilience, was just stuck. After only a few weeks of non-invasive VNS, it didn't just get a little better, it tripled. A 300% increase. That's a total game changer.
There's this one experiment that shows just how critical this nerve is. So scientists took gut bacteria from an obese mouse and they transplanted it into a lean mouse. And guess what? The lean mouse became obese. But here's the kicker. When they did the exact same experiment but cut the vagus nerve first, the transplant did absolutely nothing. The lean mouse stayed lean. This just proves that the vagus nerve is the essential channel that the gut uses to influence the rest of the body.
So, wow, we've covered frameworks for learning, a philosophy for life, the personal drivers behind it all, and even the cutting edge of health. So let's bring it all together and figure out what this all means for you. So here are the key takeaways. 1. You can learn anything faster using that DSS framework. 2. Frame your life as a series of short, intense projects to build that long-term capital. 3. Remember that your deepest struggles can become your greatest strengths. 4. Pay attention to bioelectric medicine. It's really poised to revolutionize health. And finally, a big one. Don't just chase passion. Follow what gives you energy. And we'll end with this question, which really is the essence of the entire Ferriss approach. Don't try to solve everything all at once. Find the lead domino. What is that single, smallest action you could take, the one skill you could learn, the one conversation you could finally have that would set off a chain reaction and make everything else just a little bit easier? Really think about it. If you found this breakdown valuable, please do us a favor and like, subscribe, and share it with anyone else in your life who's looking to upgrade their own.